so much. I love you so much. I love you so much. I love you so much.
Hello, all you positive heads out there. Thanks for tuning your beautiful brainwaves into another episode of the Positive Head Podcast, where we are firmly convinced that creating success and happiness is rooted in understanding the ultimate nature of reality. And the fact that as human beings, we are all immensely powerful fractals of the one and only source consciousness, which creates and animates all things. Now, of course, understanding this powerful truth is one thing. Applying this incredibly empowering wisdom to everyday life, well, that's another. Which is exactly why we provide you with a fresh serving of soul food for thought 5 days a week. To help constantly remind you of what matters most. You are it. And I'm your host for the day, Erica Middlemiss. I am just another reflection and extension of you who will be here filling in for our beloved host, Brandon Beecham, leading the way to ensure your perspective is consistently expanded, your vibration is constantly elevated, and your heart is overflowing and full. Also, this episode of the Positive Head Podcast is being brought to you thanks to the support of Gaia. If you're not familiar, Gaia is the go-to source for streaming consciousness content online. And you can sign up for your first month for only 99 cents at gaia.com/positivehead. That's spelled GAIA.com/positivehead. Check it out. All right, all you positive heads, welcome back on this magical Monday. Here we grow again. I am happy to be here today, filling in for Brandon once again. He's working really hard on the mystic manner and optimistic, so I thought I'd fill in for him today, give him some more workspace to get that accomplished, because that's going to be epic. So I hope you all are planning to join on this adventure. I'm sure there's going to be more news coming from him very soon on that. I know you all are anxiously awaiting all the details, and they are coming. So just look forward to that. And today I thought, you guys, I would talk about simplicity. It's been coming up a lot for me lately. Just getting back to the basics, the simplicity of it all. I watched the new movie. Well, it's not new. It just came out on Netflix, though. Christopher Robin. And I'm a huge fan of Winnie the Pooh. I don't know about you guys. I'm an adult that likes kid stuff because it's fun and playful, and it has a lot to teach us. And I've always loved Winnie the Pooh ever since I was little, but ever since I've had children. And one of my favorite books of all time is called The Tao of Pooh. Tao, like Taoism, T-A-O, Tao of Pooh. And that's written by Benjamin Hoff. And there's a sequel to that called The Day of Piglet, T-E, Day of Piglet. And both of those books are explaining Taoism through Winnie the Pooh and Piglet and all of the characters in that story. And it's just beautiful how it's so well done. And my favorite part about it is in the Tao of Pooh, if you think about Pooh, he's such a simple-minded, carefree, loving little bear. And he just goes with whatever his first thought is. And that's that. And his life is simple and it's easy. And his thoughts are very profound, and he has a lot to teach people. So I recently gave this book to my daughter to read, to get her acquainted with the Tao and the teachings and the way of simply being, to live a simple life, to be balanced and living in accordance with the laws of nature. And so if you're interested in a beginner book for Taoism, that's a great one. It's a great book to recommend to your friends, and just a great way to get started learning some of the concepts of the Tao, which I think is a beautiful philosophy and very easy and simple at the end of the day. So before I get into all things simple, let's read a review. You all know how much we absolutely love getting these reviews and how it helps new listeners to find us. So we really appreciate when you write them. Because without you, how would other people find the podcast? So thank you today to Julia GP, who wrote a 5-star review called Life Changer. Julia says, I started listening to The Positive Head about 3 weeks ago, and I can just say, holy energy change. I started this year a bit uneasy and uncertain, and this podcast has helped me switch from the lack mentality track to one of abundance, compassion, and light. Thank you to the amazing hosts for compelling content that is high vibe and always so timely. I've come to expect synchronistic happenings after listening to each episode because they happen so often. Play the universe game for some superb connections with your higher self. Keep rocking. Love you guys. We love you, Julia. Thank you so much. That's awesome and great suggestion. That universe game is really fun. It's also a great way to introduce the podcast to your friends and family who've never listened before. It's a fun game to play. Pick a number, find an episode that will inevitably be synchronistic in your life. That's just the way the universe works, right? So again, Julia, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for that. And so I thought I would start off by reading actually a passage today in the Tao Te Ching, written by Lao Tzu. This is passage 67, and I'm reading from the Stephen Mitchell version, which is a New English version of the Tao. It says, some say that my teaching is nonsense. Others call it lofty, but impractical. But to those who have looked inside themselves, this nonsense makes perfect sense. And to those who put it into practice, this loftiness has roots that grow deep. I just have 3 things to teach: simplicity, patience, compassion. These 3 are your greatest treasures, simple in actions and in thoughts. You return to the source of being. Patient with both friends and enemies, you accord with the way things are. Compassionate toward yourself, you reconcile all beings in the world. So I love this passage in the Tao, because obviously what we're talking about today, simplicity, but when you can put this into practice, when you can look inside yourself, it all makes sense, and you grow these deep roots that just really center your being within the source consciousness that you came from. And that is a very simple, although it seems hard, a very simple thing to do. We tend to do this as humans. And this is what I've been thinking about a lot lately, is how we tend to complicate every little thing in our life, and how we can self-sabotage ourselves and keep ourselves from moving forward because we're always complicating matters. So instead of just allowing things to be simple and go with the flow and just be, we're always wondering, well, what if, and what that, and what about this possibility or that probability, and this vortex and that vortex, and oh my goodness, how do I choose? And then there's fear and all the other things that come up. But that is only because we allow our monkey mind, our human brain, to get involved and kind of cut off our signal from our source, which is always, always within us. Our higher self is always there, always speaking to us, very simply and easily guiding us. It's just that we are not simply listening to it. We're not simply trusting ourselves and trusting our own internal compass. And I see this so much in my work with people. If any of you haven't heard me before, I always talk about this. I do a technique for healing called quantum healing hypnosis technique. And it is a very simple, very, very easy technique that allows people to get in touch with their higher self. And inevitably, almost every single person is given very simple instructions from their higher self. And it always comes down to love yourself, trust yourself, forgive yourself, let it go. These are all very, very, very simple things, simple instructions from the higher self, although they're hard in our human brain to actually put into practice, but they don't have to be. If we can realize that this is just this human aspect, this fear aspect, this illusory world aspect coming in and cluttering our brain from all of the intuitive thoughts and the thoughts from source that come in, then we're getting somewhere, and we can start to see, okay, how do I listen to this little voice who's always in my head, always talking to me. One of the main things that we tell people before going into a session is the best way for you to get out of the way in your mind is to not question a single thought that you have. To allow that thought to come in, don't question it, and just say it. What is the very, very first thing that comes to your head? Just like when we were growing up and learning how to take standardized tests, right? What's the first answer that comes? Write that one down. That one is probably the right answer. Same thing in life. When we're getting messages from our higher self, it is always the clear, non-fear-based, loving voice that always comes first, that we hear it, but then our human brain will come in and be like, yeah, but what if this and what if that? And that's when the monkey throws poo on our brains and then we get all discombobulated and now we've made it complex. But let's remember, we can always, always, always bring it back to the simple concepts of love, of forgiveness, of gratitude. And from there, everything can flow a whole lot easier when we can find the love, when we can find the ability to forgive ourselves, and we find the gratitude. These are very simple, yet very complex, very huge things. But at the end of the day, so simple. And if we can all get back to this simplicity, wow, just imagine how much easier our lives would be. Oh, it sounds really good, right? You know, again, one of these things that, as Brandon always says, we teach most what we need to learn. And yeah, I need to remember too that life really isn't as hard as it seems sometimes. I'm just making it this way. I can get out of the way and I can make it easier. We can all get out of our own ways to make things a whole lot more simple in life. Confucius said, life is really simple, but we insist on making it complicated. Leonardo da Vinci said, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. And I love that. It is so true. When we can really live at this simple level, it's actually because we've worked really hard to get there through all these sophisticated trials and tribulations. And we finally realized, oh, it's simple. In the end, it just is simple. And so, yes, the ultimate sophistication. I love that. I think that's beautiful. Steve Jobs said, simple can be harder than complex. You have to work hard to get your thinking clean to make it simple. But it's worth it in the end, because once you get there, you can move mountains. And holy cow, is that true? The subtle energies that we experience are the most powerful, aren't they? So once we get this idea of really how simple everything is, that all of our thoughts are energy and we have control of our energy and our thoughts all the time, then yeah, we can move mountains. We can absolutely do anything. And last but not least, I love this one, especially because it's so true. Robert Brault said, enjoy the little things. For one day, you may look back and realize they were the big things. They're always the big things. The little things are always the biggest. Like my little 7-month-old who's cracking up laughing at nothing. It's just some stupid something that he's cracking up belly laughing at. And so simple. And it is the most beautiful thing. And that's what I'm going to remember. I'm not going to remember him not sleeping at night. I'm going to remember how stinking cute he is when he's belly laughing. So it's those little things that really, really are the most important that we should remember. Remember in those times when it's really hard that it can be easy. We just have to focus our brain, focus our monkey mind, kind of shut it off, actually, focus it enough so we can realize it's there so we can not listen to it. And yeah, allow all of the good love to flow through instead. So I found an Abraham clip to help us wrap our brains around this concept a little bit more. And I found this on the YouTube page Dewdrop157 called Abraham-Hicks, Simplicity Within Complexity. Take a listen.
I've made changes in my life that it's like I don't know myself. I feel very emotional and tired. I feel tired. And I understand why, like if I look at it scientifically,
Well, tiredness is about resistance.
Well,
that's all.
exactly, because
That's
you
all.
say you don't really even need sleep. You just need to be, I've heard a tape where he said, like, you don't even really need to sleep as much as you need to release resistance.
The benefit of your sleep time is that it's alignment time. That's the benefit
Right.
of it. Your momentum stops, and it gives you an opportunity to just sort of settle into the vibration of well-being. And when you awaken, you have a better opportunity to just pick up in that general place and then proceed without the wobble. That really is the benefit of sleep. It sets you in a probable place of less wobble when you understand that. Unless you wake up and want to talk about it, you're sitting here talking with infinite intelligence.
Right.
We know where you are and where you want to be
Okay.
and exactly how to help you see the path. And you want to talk about then?
No, you're right, I don't. So,
And so isn't it nice to know that any time that you feel innervated, that it just means you've got that wobble going on. Anytime you feel tired, it just means you've got that wobble going on. It's all about resistance. Anytime you feel negative emotion, it's just about resistance. And so the thing that we most want to convey to you is that the resistance that you are aware of, the fact that you are aware of the resistance is not a bad thing, it's a good thing. The fact that you don't quite know what to do next, you're not sure what step to take, you say, I've kind of lost my sense of who I am. Really what's happening is you're finding your sense of who you are. You're discovering that who you thought you were is not who you are. And the letting go of that you thought you are is going to be a wonderful freeing thing. That's why you said, I mostly feel free. I feel pretty good until you get your monkey mind involved in it. Until you get all that scattered thoughts about, actually the monkey mind would be a better mind. We don't mean to be disrespectful of the monkeys because they do a better job of alignment than you all do. Really, they do. So now what? Let's just walk through this softly.
well, you're right, I do feel more free. I feel just emotionally tired. Like really, and I want to understand that so I can...
All right, so you're really going to like this. So it feels to you like you need to understand what's making you tired or what you need to do, what right steps you need to take because it feels like there have been wrong steps, or you're tentative because you don't want to take the wrong step. So we just want to ask you a few questions. Do you prefer it, or do you think that life should be difficult or easy?
Easy.
Now,
difficult.
no,
I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, the difficulty is the resistance that shows you the barometer. It's like the hot stove.
Do you prefer it when it is difficult or easy?
I prefer when it's easy.
So, did you see what happened right there with her? Because she made the simple, wobble-free choice. That's all right. And then did what almost everybody does. Then second-guessed herself. And then got into more details. But life can't be simple. It's going to be difficult, and I need to cope. Isn't that exactly the train of thought that you just went through? So did you see how quickly it got off in the wobble? Because should it be easy or should it be hard? How do we prove ourselves? How do we justify our existence? Who do we follow? Who knows the right path? I followed down that path, and then I followed down that path, and then I followed down that path, and now I don't know where I am. Right in the context of this conversation, it went from easier to difficult to you almost immediately. It's all right, just start over again. Do you think that life should be, let's not use the should, could be, let's not use the could, can be, would you prefer that life be simple or complex? Now that's a little tricky. Simple or complex? We're going to tell you the true answer that you all want. You want it to be simple until you get the wobble out of it. And then you want the momentum to increase, and you want the wobble-free complexity to delight you forevermore. You follow that?
Yes. That is what I want.
That's as clearly as we could ever say it. So we're going to say it again because we like it so much. Simple or complex? Well, if it's complex and it's fragmented, it makes me crazy. But is it possible for it to be simple and complex and simple? Can it be simple in its complexity? It can be simple in its complexity if you're not second-guessing yourself and if there's not a bunch of resistance in it. You think that this Earth spinning in its orbit is simple or complex? Think about it. When you think about all the moving parts, it is complex beyond complex. We can't even describe to you the amount of forces and things that are taking place that keep your Earth spinning in its orbit in perfect proximity to other planets. This is complexity that you can't even define. But the sun simply came up this morning. Did you notice? So, if you can accept that everything that is necessary for the fulfillment of everything that you want is not only already in place, it's already working for you. And that your singular work, your simple work, is just to accomplish an atmosphere around you that allows the realization to show up when it does. It feels complex when you need to know every single thing, even a trip. Esther will think about a trip. Now, we're going to show you something that she used to do. She doesn't do it anymore. But she used to think about the trip, and she used to think about all the places that she'd be going. And then she'd think about the traffic on the way to the parking garage, and then she'd think about the parking garage and the distance from the parking garage to the checking of the luggage. And then she'd think about all those machines and those contraptions, and then she'd think about the security and going through the security, and then she'd think about the lines at the security, and then she'd think about the timing, and then she'd think about finding the gate, and then she'd think about being comfortable at the gate, and then she'd think about, is the airplane going to show up or isn't it going to show up, and is it going to come on time, and am I going to get to where I need to be? And when I get out there, when I get to the other place, will the driver that's supposed to pick me up, will he be there to pick me up? And will he recognize me? And will he have a sign? And will other people have already seen my name on the sign, or will be there a cluster of people around them waiting for me to show up with the sign? And when I get in the car, will he know where he's going? And then she just thinks, kill me now, I don't want to go. Why would anyone want to put themselves through that? Why would anyone want to put themselves through that? But when she realizes that it always works and it always flows, and every airport is different, and every airport has signs to let you know where to go. Some airports have trains, some airports have trams, some airports have moving walkways. Does this airport have a train, a tram, or a moving walkway? I need to know in advance because I need to think this all through. What we're getting at here is that the complexities of the way your life will unfold, there are details that there just aren't even enough hours or words to explain to you all of the moving parts that are making up the perfection of your complex life. But if you would understand that your work is not to deal with the complexities, because most of those complexities have been a trajectory that's already been taken care of, and that your singular work is just to find some way to focus yourself into an emotional mood or atmosphere that puts you in the place of being able to, can you feel all the words that we're finding here? Being able to realize the path when it's in front of you. And when you feel insecure, it's because you haven't been accomplishing that feeling of being able to realize, and so you've been standing in that place of trying to figure out too many things. You cannot think about what's going to happen later now with any sort of precision. You can't step off the curb before the curb is there to step off of. And trying to think about all the curbs that you're going to step off of and up onto in even the next 24 hours would make you crazy if you tried to identify it. And your mind tells you easily, well, of course I don't want to do that. I can use my eyes to see what I need to step off of and what I need to step up onto. I have the senses to move through the world. And what we're wanting you to understand is that you have vibrational senses to move through the world too. And as you are just centering yourself more, as you are trying less hard, as you are efforting less, as you are just looking for those simple things that cause you to feel good more, and when you find them, just milk them, do more of those things. What you're going to discover, and we know you know this because you've lived it before, you step into that place of clarity. No one would ever be writhing in the discomfort of being in confusion if they had not known the feeling of clarity. You see. And so you're just not trusting yourself. You started out by explaining to us that you are so untrustworthy you had to be medicated. You're so untrustworthy. you see. And we say the whole world, by those standards, should be on serious medication. Because you are so fragmented, looking at so many moving parts, trying to sort things out there in the conditions where you have no power. You cannot control those conditions, and when you try, you get fragmented. There's only one thing that you can control, and that's the atmosphere around you. You can control that. And if you'll find a way to feel it, if you'll find a way to do it, if you'll decide when you wake up that you're wobble-free mostly and you mean to stay that way, and then you will just find those wobble-free thoughts going general. Just ask yourself again and again, do I prefer this to this? And let it be emotions. Do I prefer this to this to this? Until, of course, it's so simple. Of course I'd rather love than hate. Of course I would. Of course I'd rather feel clarity than confusion. Of course I would. And if you do that enough, you will create that atmosphere that law of attraction will then generate more and more thought from, until you'll be living very fast-moving, very exhilarating, very high-passion experiences with no angst, with only ease. It's just the way it is. But have you ever heard anybody say you can't get there from there? You can't get there as easily from there. You can get there. We've written how many books and how many processes to help you take this chaos and bring it down to a place that's more manageable. Now we just want to say to you, wake up there and stay there as long as you can. Wake up there and stay there as long as you can. Wake up there and stay there as long as you can. And if somebody brings friction into your experience, just look at them and say, I so want to love you, and you make it so hard. Just go away for a little while. Because when you're not here in my face like this, you're easy to love. And I so want to love you. Loving you is what I do, but just go away just for a little while longer so that I remember how much I love you, okay? And say that to every condition that you can't control, which is every condition. Till I'm stable. Till I'm there. Till I'm sure.
So you got to love Abraham, right? I mean, she just breaks it down so well and explains it so beautifully. I mean, I love the point at the beginning that she made too with resistance is a good thing. It helps us find our sense of who we are and helps us to let go of who we are not. And so that we can enjoy these simple wobble-free choices that we make. Unless we go and second guess them, right? Which she's saying that almost everyone does because our monkey mind is getting involved. So it's nice to know that we're not alone here. We all do this, but we're constantly second guessing this. Like she said, life can't be simple. It's going to be difficult. And I need to cope with that. But it's very interesting how we immediately take that first thought that comes in like, oh, it can be easy. But then the monkey mind comes in and within seconds, it's difficult. So if we can remember this in that moment, go with that first thought. Oh, this can be easy. Yes. Okay. Stick with that. When you hear the monkey mind coming in, shut it off, push it away. It's just poo throwing at your brain. You don't need that poo. Listen to the ease, right? And I love that tool that she talked about with always asking yourself, do I want this or do I want that? Do I want it to be easy or do I want it to be hard? Do I want it to be simple or do I want it to be complex? And constantly being able to make those choices, because then you will find that everything will flow a whole lot easier. Because we quickly get ourselves off of out of our vortex or in this wobbling existence. Because we feel like we need to prove ourselves or justify ourselves, or we don't know who to follow and what path to go down. And we're constantly questioning this and questioning that, but we never really know, do we? We never know what the future actually holds. And we can waste so much time thinking about what ifs and all of the possibilities. But we can do that until we're blue in the face and then we're really confused and we never go anywhere because we're constantly just questioning. So we can sit back and know that that example of the Earth in orbit in its simple complexity. And I think that's such a really beautiful analogy to our lives about, yes, it's very, very complex. And yes, we can pick apart all the details, but what good is that going to do for us? We can step back and realize how beauty it is in its simplicity. The sun comes up every day, doesn't it? We always know our bodies are maintaining homeostasis without us doing anything about it. The grass is growing outside. The sun is coming up. The wind is blowing. All of these intricate things are happening around us simply and easily without anybody getting in the way. If we stop getting in the way, things can flow. And so I think it's just a matter of taking the time to recognize what you're doing when you're doing it. If you're getting in your own way, get out of your own way by thinking the opposite thought, thinking this can be easy. Where is the love here? I know this is simple because the universe is simple, complex in its simplicity, but overall, extremely, extremely simple. It all comes down to love. Love is all we are. That is all we came from. That is all we are here to experience. And that is all that we ultimately are and go back to. So everything, every instance contains love. We just need to find it. So we don't need to drive ourselves totally nutty. Like that example she gave of her traveling. My goodness, I was getting agita just listening to her talk about that. I was like, okay, enough. You're stressing me out, lady. But like, yeah, why would you want to put yourself through that? This is what we do in our brains all the time. When really there are signs, just like there are signs in the airport, there are signs around us all the time that are pointing our direction where to go. Little breadcrumbs that our higher self is putting in front of our path, if only we recognize them. They're very simple, but we just need to look and pick them up and follow them, follow that direction. Don't ask any questions. Your higher self has got it. It's got your back like nobody else has ever got your back. Trust that. Trust in you. Trust that your higher dimensional aspect of yourself only wants to help you at all times. It's there to help you. It's showering you with love at all times. As long as you can accept that love, it's there. It's there for you. So I guess that's it today, guys. I think that's all my thoughts on this. Keep it simple. I love you all. I'm going to leave you with a song today. What song am I going to leave you with? It is Ayla Nerio, All of This. Enjoy, everybody. Till next time. Also, if you're craving more consciousness elevating content, be sure to check out Gaia, which is the go-to source for streaming consciousness content on the web, where you can stream an incredible 7,000 plus exclusive videos covering 5,000 years of wisdom. As you all hear Brandon constantly say, it is a daily conscious effort to maintain an elevated vibration, and if you're looking to journey deep down the rabbit hole to do so, then Gaia is the best place we know of to do it, period. And you can sign up for your first month for only 99 cents at gaia.com/positivehead. That's spelled GAIA.com/positivehead. Check it out.
I am but a part of this. All I am is all I give. Everything that comes to me comes as sure as I will breathe. I am but a part of this. All I am is all I give. Everything that comes to me comes as sure as I will breathe. I am but a part of this. All I am is all I give. Everything that comes to me comes as sure as I will breathe. I am but a part of this. All I am is all I give. Everything that comes to me comes as sure as I will breathe. Sure as tempest storms us into, pulls us, planets, opposed orbits. Sure as forces spin us, cycles, spiral, changes, joyous, frightful. Surely, my dear, you've sung to the moon. Cross will breathe.